Hi, my name is Ray Woller, and this is my personal reflection presentation for Business 480. So just what I'm going to talk about today is just a little intro, talk about my notable experiences, my school of business experience, and then narrowing down even further the capstone experience, where I'll talk about the most important lesson I've taken away from that class, and then into my Clifton strengths and personal mission statement, next steps for after college, my gratitude for WLC, and then just a quick closing remark. So a little bit about myself. So I'm a sports management and digital marketing major here at Wisconsin Lutheran College. The emphasis more so on the sports management side of things. I run cross country and track here, and I'll talk about that experience a little bit later in the presentation. I'm from Mount Horeb, Wisconsin, so it's southwest Wisconsin, um, about 20 minutes, 30 minutes from Madison, and I attended Mount Horeb Public High School there. I'm the third of four boys, and our family is a military family. My dad is now retired, but he served in the Air Force for 20 years. So I moved around all my life up until about sixth grade when we moved back to Wisconsin. And I feel like that shaped me as a person a lot. So, some factors that led me to WLC, I think the biggest thing was the Christian environment. Deep down, I visited some schools, thought about some schools that weren't they're public schools. But really what it boiled down to is just, being able to go to a school that I knew would support me in my faith was super important. WLC was also gave me an opportunity to run cross country and track. Going into my senior year of high school, I didn't think I wanted to do that, so that wasn't really on my radar. But then as I ran and as I heard from Coach Travis and assistant coach at the time, I realized that was something I wanted to continue to do. So WLC gave me that opportunity. And then also just the small class sizes and the campus environment of WLC was another big driving factor that led me here. So looking at some notable experiences, I'm going to touch on three big experiences throughout college. I think the biggest one when I look back was meeting my now fiance and future wife, Emily Mueller. I met her my freshman year. She was a sophomore. And really, obviously now, we're getting married in July. So getting married, it's probably one of the biggest moments in my life. And so when I look back at my time at WLC, I think probably one of the biggest things had to have been meeting my future wife. And meeting Emily, that just, you know, being with your person in college, that was just a super cool experience. I got to experience the highs and lows of navigating a relationship. It's not sunshine and rainbows all the time. And so learned a lot about myself. And Emily, she really helped me grow personally, um, shaped me as a person, and then also pushed me to grow spiritually. She's a very strong Christian, and that was huge for me. And she pushed me at times when I wasn't, doing the things I needed to do, or when, yeah, she's pushed me in many ways. And so I think that's a big notable experience. The second one, that came to mind was dealing with injuries my sophomore year track season. I pulled my hamstring about four times throughout that whole season. So my sophomore year, I raced, I think, two or three track races in the span of 5 or 6 months when everybody else on the team is racing upwards of 20 times. And so that was just really tough. It helped me navigate adversity. I learned a lot about myself through failure because there was so many times where I'd work to get back and I thought I was ready, and then my hamstring would tighten up. And I pulled it, and I'd be back at square one. And it taught me a different side of work ethic to running than I've had to learn before. Before it's just the work ethic of cross country and track is putting in the miles that are necessary, doing some crazy workouts, running crazy amount of miles each day, each week. But I learned about a different side of the work ethic that goes into running and performing, and that's putting in time in the trainers, putting in time in the weight room, getting on the elliptical or the bike. So I just learned a lot about myself as a runner, and an athlete, and it gave me a really good perspective. When I came back from that the next year, where I was thankful for running and I really appreciated it. Where at times before that I just did not love running, but I really appreciated running after that. And then kind of tying with that, being a part of the cross country and track teams, that I think really is a summation of my time here. Um, my teammates, my guys, they are like brothers to me, like literally like brothers to me. And so like just getting to meet those guys and spend so much of my time these last 4 years with them has just been incredible. I've learned so many valuable lessons, as I say, in teamwork. Uh, you got to learn to work as a team. And you learn different personalities. You learn, everyone's different, and so you learn that give and take with various people. And I think it's something I'm going to carry forward into the workforce. I learned leadership skills. We didn't have official, captain roles on the team, but was able to lead during my time here on the team, and then just helped me grow. Um, and I'm hoping to continue to run after college a little bit. Nothing too competitive, but I think that's something to take with me. So just very appreciative of these three notable experiences that I've had. So looking at the School of Business experience, some three key takeaways. I think the biggest one when I think about it is just my growth in confidence in public speaking and presenting, but then also just kind of like my confidence in my interpersonal skills. Coming to college and even like freshman year, I was very shy. Like when I know someone, I feel like I can talk to them really well. And I open up and, I'm not shy. But with new people and new environments, very shy initially. Whereas I feel like now, just being in the School of Business and presenting so much and having a network outside of school and even kind of networking with classmates you maybe don't know a ton. You get put into a group with them for a project or for an activity and you have to open up, you have to talk to them. And that's kind of helped me grow within, the business realm, but then grow just outside of business, being comfortable talking to people. And really just the numerous presentations, I think, in the School of Business classes have helped me grow in this way. And then kind of along with that, with presentations, the group projects is just the ability to work in groups. Almost every single class in the School of Business, especially in the sports management major and the digital marketing major, almost every single class has a group project aspect to it. And this just really has helped me learn dynamics, kind of similar to what I talked about with cross country. Um, is everybody ticks in a different way. Everyone, has a different personality, and so you learn how to navigate that. And then it really helped me learn conflict management. There's some projects, and some classes where it was smooth sailing and it was great. Everybody pulled their weight. Project was done early. We went and crushed it and got an A. And then there's some projects where it may feel a little stressful, a little rushed. People, occasionally not showing up to meetings. But you learn how to navigate that in a professional way that I'll be able to carry that into the workforce. And then third is learning how to be detail focused, and obsessed with the details. I feel like I especially drew this from my sports management major. Not that I didn't pull it from my digital marketing major, but I think especially in our sports management projects, this is something we're pushed to look at, and make sure to include from Professor Martin's. Where there's a necessity to think of every single detail. I'm thinking specifically of my event promotion and management class, our project for that. You know, we make our outline and we think we have everything, and then we meet with Professor Martins, and he gives us a laundry list of 20 things that we're not included, but are necessary to include if we were to successfully run that event. So just learning how to like really be hyper focused on the details and including everything, and not being afraid to, go overboard because you'd rather be more prepared than underprepared. And then finally, key takeaway that have to have an honorable mention on there is the four P's: product, price, place, and promotion. Four P's of marketing. I'll never forget that. Thank you, Professor Van Acker. So in looking deeper dive specifically at the capstone experience, um, I think that the capstone experience has kind of helped me grow my networking abilities and my abilities to talk to people that are, further along in my career path than me. I think the biggest thing that's helped with this has been the professional mentor program. My mentor I'd already been working with, doing an internship over at Wauwatosa East High School with the athletic director there, Andrew Thompson. So that wasn't something I really had to like go out of my way to get, but I had to do that initially to get the internship. But then the professional mentor program's gotten me comfortable talking to someone who's in that career field, and thinking about questions and things I want to talk to him about to learn more about his career and kind of help me move forward professionally. And then the workshop, obviously talking about networking, job searching, I think has really helped, um, grow my appreciation, like actually understanding what networking is and what needs to happen and what takes place. I think Capstone, I mean, the School of Business has done this, but specifically the Capstone has increased my critical thinking and problem solving skills. I think this is specifically from the capstone project, um, and identifying the critical business and solutions. And kind of what this has done is, at first in the project, it's kind of, okay, our group is thinking, hey, here's some ideas we have. Like we just jump straight to ideas. But then we have to like critically think, okay, what is the critical business issue? Like what is the actual issue? And then coming up with solutions from there. And really, that's just helped me problem solve, really. And we've ran into roadblocks along the way where we're like, crap, I don't think that idea would really work, or how are we gonna, implement this idea? So really helping build problem solving in that way. And then finally, it's just helped me understand and appreciate my own strengths, and how to utilize these. So through those workshops where we talked about our Clifton strengths, formed our mission statement, that's helped me, understand what is my makeup, like what makes me me, and how to utilize those strengths. And then also doing the same with others, looking at specifically, my capstone group and seeing, you know, what is each person's strengths? How are they different than me? But like how do their strengths contribute and make the team better and stronger? I think that's been a really cool experience because it's something I can do and we can all do later in life in our workforce. Then looking at what I feel like the most important lesson I've taken away from the capstone project, I'm just going to read this straight and then explain it. But to properly propose effective ideas, strategies, and tactics, the issue at hand needs to first be clearly stated and identified. So I briefly touched on that, but the capstone project, we kind of at first we were just coming up with ideas in our group, and it felt like I don't know how strong these ideas are. Are they really going to fix what we think the issue is? But then when we sat down and we thought, okay, what is the critical business issue? That really helped us then come up with what we thought were effective ideas because they actually addressed the root issue. And so I feel like that's been the most important lesson I've taken away is to you first have to identify the issue at hand to then come up with ideas, to provide solutions. So looking at my personal mission statement, my five Clifton strengths in order are harmony, discipline, relator, consistency, and responsibility. And then my personal mission statement, for verbatim, is I'm built to find purpose through unity and genuine connections by having organized plans, highlighting others' worth, and holding myself and others accountable. So I feel like this mission statement really just touches on, I like that unity and I like genuine connections. That kind of comes from my harmony and relator strengths. And then organized plans and like holding myself and others accountable kind of come from the discipline, consistency, and responsibility strengths, where those are more executing. And then harmony and relator are kind of those interpersonal, relationship building strengths. So looking at my next steps, first is to graduate in May, and then shortly after that, getting married to Emily in July, and then moving to Topeka, Kansas, where she's currently a zookeeper. Second step is to use the work ethic, critical thinking skills, and problem solving skills that I've learned at my time at WLC and whatever job, whatever career I end up in. Third is to showcase servant leadership and Christian ethics. I think this is a big thing, that can set us apart. Not everyone's going to be a Christian in the workforce, but really just showing that, like what makes me tick, and that is my faith, and just showcasing that, and really just trying to be different. And then finally, just looking to build relationships early on. I want to carry this forward. This is something we talked about, that's critical, is to build relationships with people and then lean on others, especially as we're starting out in our careers. So I want to do that. And then also leaning on the Lord, just trusting in Him, trusting in His plan, and that He'll, provide. So gratitude, I'm most thankful that in my time at WLC, God surrounded me with friends, teammates, professors, mentors, significant others, and a support system that pushed me in my faith and to be a better person. I just really, that support system is just what has made this time at WLC so great. It's been the people, the experience has been great, but the people have really made the experience. So I'm just so grateful for that. So just in closing, um, as I mentioned, just grateful for my time at WLC, grateful for my time in the School of Business. I learned so many things that I think, I maybe would have learned at other schools, but just not to the extent, that I have here. And just this has really made me WLC's made me a better person, and I'm looking forward to always being a warrior down the line wherever I end up. Thank you.